Ladies and gents, welcome back to the LCO. It's time to jump on into game number 3 of the day and the first official game with Peace bringing in some players from overseas. The Feezers are ready, the players, they're here, and they got to go up against the big dogs. Well, one of the 3 big dogs of the league so far, that's Chiefs. So it'll be a very interesting affair, but let's have a look at the Chiefs first. They are, tried, tested, and true for the most part, but they're not perfect. They have made hiccups, and that's why they've got at least 1 loss on the board. But I don't know if that's going to turn into 2 today. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so far, for the side of the Chiefs, the one thing that I will say is that Raze on Zeri is a different human completely, but tragically for him, the Yuumi has been pretty much nerfed to oblivion. Zalidoric not going to be able to pick that one. I'm very curious to see where they choose to go, and of course, speaking of, you're about to see Raze getting those kills constantly. Had a fantastic week too. The other side of the map, however, is the big name that stands out to me. We can talk for a while about how good Kisei has been. This game was a bit of an exception to that, but it still gets the kills. BioPanther has been so consistently good in top lane that I think he is, the best performing top laner of the split so far. I mean, Zoran is making a very strong case for himself after that last game. But Bio's been so exceptional. I shouldn't say it as he does that. This game doesn't count for my opinion of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But he's been so good that I think he's like single-handedly skewing a lot of the ways these games go when the Chiefs win.
You've cursed it on a replay.
3 times. 3 times.
Absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. But look, Chiefs, we know them, we love them, and they're, spitting bars on the Twitter sphere. But let's see how that evolves today, because we get to look at the Chiefs. I'm going to quickly introduce them. I haven't practiced this at all, so it's only uphill from here. We got Wazy, we got Shakabra, we got Nully, Cheon, and Cloud. But Kitty, do you want to take us through their actual pronunciations?
Of course. So there's a bit of a few tricky names we have here. It is Weizhe for the top lane, Shaka for the jungle, Nuli as the mid laner. Of course, we also have Cheon and Cloud in that bottom lane. And I want to highlight Cloud. He has come to OCE where he used to play in the LPL alongside Yuzi on Oh My God. So this is going to be a very exciting addition to the Peace roster.
I'm keen to see what they do, because look, complete unknown quantity. We don't know if they're going to stand up and really perform today against the Chiefs, or if it's not going to go so well. Of course, Chiefs, we know that they are sort of the tried team in the region, of course, going overseas, couple of roster swaps going into this year, but looking spectacular so far.
Yeah.
But if Peace come out of the gates and they knock them down, then are they just going to be like one of the best teams in the league, the best team in the league?
What does that mean for the group stage? What are seedings actually going to look like then, right? It can get very confusing. What we do know about Peace so far is that their top laner is a carry player, loves to play things like the Camille de Fiora, gets very active around the map, and that their jungler, a very big utility player. So I feel like they do fit a common recipe in a lot of the LCO teams, but I wouldn't be surprised to see an aggressive play style. Remember that this is a PCS team. They're PCS players. They're probably going to be more kill hungry than the rest of the LCO.
Well, someone that is generally not kill hungry and loves to play the weak side is our big man up top. That's BioPanther, and we got him here for the pre-match interview.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? Hey, look, I don't mean to downplay you like that, but Rusty completely cast his curse you in the replays. You didn't see it, but he was saying how good you were on the replays. You were dying. So any quick message for Rusty before we get into the interview?
Honestly, he gave me some love, so I have no
Some
ill words
love?
on it. So yeah, honestly, he gave me some love, so that's all I can say.
The fangirls are dying out there because everyone wants some. So a bit of that, but moving on. Of course, you guys are versing the new Peace roster for the first time. It's our first time also seeing all the members as well. What are your opinions on this team?
I've always rated Peace as super high. I feel like they're second or third up there. I just feel like with the visa issue, they're 0-5, but we should not doubt them as opponents. I versed them in scrims. I just think they're really good, so I'm really excited to play them and not just get a free win off this. So I want to use this practice to get us to the position that I want to be at.
Okay, if you get this win today, you'll get in a 3-way tie going into the last day of games as well, which could mean we got some crazy situations, might have to have tiebreakers, etc. So this game matters, but as you mentioned, Peace are a pretty damn good team. If they come out and get the win today, would you be surprised, or do you think that they are capable of that?
I feel like they're capable of that, but I just think I can't lose. Like, I just have the mindset, like,
Yeah.
I just can't lose. So in my head, I've already won. Like, I feel like that's just the difference between me and most players, is that I have that tenacity that I just know I'm going to win no matter what, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we win. So.
Look, and on that confidence, happy to let you go. Keep that mindset, King.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
see you after the game, maybe.
See you later, King.
I fished for that.
You're
one.
actually
I-
forcing a king meta
Yeah.
at this point.
Here's your crown, King Mac.
Although Kitty said it earlier as well, bloody throwing it in there, throwing it to the players. Everyone's lifting each other up. It's a good day. It's a good day. Let's see who's picking what side, who's got counter pick, who's blue, who's red, who's what bloody color. And Peace going for the blue side, so going for that prio pick. Are we expecting them? Actually, do you know where they're going to be putting this priority?
Yeah, that's a better question.
That's a-
First pick, Caitlyn for Cheon.
I mean,
Because
Yeah.
Caitlyn was so banger in
That's fair,
2022. Yeah, I wanted to mention how Cheon will be the starting ADC for Peace this time around, and he had a really good performance for the starting of Split 1, I believe, on Peace 2022.
Yeah.
And then he slowly kind of fell off alongside Beats, and he unfortunately got subbed out for Violet for the second half of the year. But we have seen his potential and how he does on this Caitlyn pick specifically. But what is the meta offering right now? We see the Twitch available as well.
Twitch
Rat?
points are great to put into their fan vote. Put them up there. The game's not too far away. Rat.
that just
no.
really
This
got up.
couch has got no
Really
synergy.
shocked her. Yeah.
You're like going
Hey,
two different ways.
hey, I knew what Kitty was saying. I was just doing my segue. But sorry.
That was a good
So,
segue.
either way, look, predictions time. How do we think this one's going to go? It's an unknown factor. I don't know if anyone's
Did
gone
anyone
deep.
go Peace?
I don't think so. I did have a little peeky poo,
Oh.
but it's all shields.
Oh!
Max! Max is a believer, huh?
I did.
It's his chance to come back.
Max did recently do an interview on his podcast with Cheon, who was talking, of course, quite highly of his own roster. Cheon saying that they will be a top 3 team with relative confidence. Meanwhile, in the background, his team was screeching playing solo queue.
Nice.
So that was an interesting interview to digest, but perhaps Max got some extra confidence from that one. He's not here to defend himself, so we can just call him a clown if we want.
We can.
He called himself one
He did.
at the start of that podcast.
He looks like a bloody
Oh,
model, though.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
seriously.
What happened to
Who-
putting everyone up?
No, he looks like a male model.
just said he looks
Calvin
like a male
Klein.
model.
He's definitely a Calvin
Is
Klein
that
model.
not is that a bad
That's
thing?
propping him up.
Is this a
He's
bad
tall
thing?
and handsome, no?
And he's
Yeah.
tall and handsome.
I swear he was.
Allegedly.
But he made me feel like a midget on this couch.
He is very tall, by the way.
Either way, look, Kitty, if Peace are going to win this one, with these imports coming in, who do you want to keep your eye on? Who do you think is going to be the biggest pop-off player?
I've caught the mid lane, I believe, Nuli and Shaka playing a bit of solo queue, and I played against them as well. And the impression that I got from these two players is that Shaka is a very utility-based jungler. He likes the Mal, he likes the Sejuani. On the other hand, Nuli, he is that Zoe player of the entire roster. That is his most played in solo queue.
Okay.
And with the Zoe buffs coming through for patch 13.1b, then that is something potentially threatening for the side of Chiefs.
Well, let's see if that's going to be threatened, if Zoe even gets let through, because Champ Select's ready. Let's see what Peace have for us.
Here it is, the grand reveal, the grand debut, if you will. And what a way to start things off, right? 5 games missed, straight into the belly of the beast, up against the Titans that are the Chiefs.
Yeah, straight into it. 6 bans done and dusted here, Skimmy. So, Peace's side, the Sejuani, the Elise, going to be taken away from Babip. Last week, if you cast your mind back, Babip was a Sejuani one-trick and looked actually fantastic on it. Meanwhile, the Chiefs on the other side are going to get rid of the Cheon champion of Caitlyn. Jax away from Wager, and then Ash is going to be taken off. Again, that flexible, but primarily ADC at the moment, I
His
believe.
Varus, though, is very, very good. I've seen that all the way back till the OCS days quite a while ago and was phenomenal at it. We're going to just completely change up our approach to this game. Sivir and Wukong going to come out as a very quick response.
Yeah, we've been seeing a little bit of Sivir here and there now. This is one of those matchups where Sivir is super good as a scaling AD carry pick, particularly when it comes to team fights. Varus has the flexibility of going attack speed like a normal ADC would, kind of matching the Sivir, or going for lethality. I'm usually preferential if you're going to go for a team fighting comp for that attack speed build. However, already he's going to be dealing with a Wukong, and there could be an insurmountable number of other dive options to threaten him, and it's very difficult to see that and say, well, I'm going to go team fight based.
We're all just holding our breath for a second here, seeing the China Hover and thinking there's no way, surely. So instead, no, the Karma comes out. That's being paired alongside the Maokai, so you've certainly got yourself an abundance of engage to kickstart things here as the Chiefs are going to respond back and say, well, you can deny the Yuumi.
So one thing I do know about Cloud is that he is a very good Karma player. Apparently has very solid laning fundamentals. You know, the way that he plays the game is foundations, which makes sense because he's been playing since, what, 2014 as a professional? He understands a lot of the fundamentals of the game really well, and Karma seems to be one of his bread and butter choices. This being perhaps predictable if the Chiefs know this information. They can see the handshake that comes through with the Lulu straight afterwards, right? Yuumi gone, doesn't matter. Alidoric, as much as he enjoys his Nautilus, as much as he enjoys his Leona, as much as he perhaps doesn't enjoy having to play things like the Yuumi and Lulu, bad luck, buddy.
You're on Enchanted duties
until Lance time.
Absolutely, until those melee support buffs come on through, he's stuck in Enchanted jail. So
one more patch, Skinny.
He's just
patient.
Far away. He's scaling into the next group stage, isn't he?
He's scaling.
Bans for the second half of the draft coming on through now. So the Fiora's been denied away. For what we know of Regis, he loves to play those carry style top laners, right? We've seen the Gwens, the Fioras, the Camille's to say the least. So no surprise that that's the direction that the Chiefs have gone. The response, though, almost seems to be that they want to try and match that, which is curious because I feel like we've seen teams try to deny bio in the past. It always feels like a bit of a waste.
This is a very deep cut, though, into the top lane champion pool. If you're going to take away both the Gwen and the Fiora and the Jax away from Peace, and they're going to take away Cassante Renekton, you've got Nah. That's certainly going to be a viable choice for them up there.
There it is.
And Biopanther says, yeah, you want to go deep cut? Let's go Sion. Straight away, locks in a tank. Says you don't have an option. Let's see where Wager chooses to go, right? Like, does he have another carry sitting in the pockets, waiting in the wings? As I think Peace have been watching some kiddie streams with all these Janna hovers.
Well, they're certainly hovering, contemplating when Janna may see the light of day again in a draft, but it won't be the case. Camille's still up and available, and seemed like the next one on the chopping block, didn't it? So no surprises there.
Process of elimination for Wadezer. He's going to go for the Camille. He knows the matchup. Sion Camille is a pretty common historical matchup as well, right? Sion just goes tanky. Camille can either go for full split push, like just full split push Ravenous Hydra items, or go towards the team fighting build. So a bit of flexibility there for him. With junglers coming around, can absolutely have a 0-6 Sion as your opponent, and it's a Maokai, so very good gank lanes. And Victor, we talked about Nuli, his ability to carry in mid is very flexible, has the Zoe, has those options, but has gone for the Victor, and it must be said, has gone for the Victor without knowing his mid lane matchup into Kisei.
Absolutely.
Who we've seen play this Kassadin. I think it was a 12-0-3 or 12-0-4 performance from him the first time we saw it. Such a good assassin player. And he's taken the gambit against that Kassadin by blind picking the Victor. I feel like, again, the Peace have picked a comp that's good for themselves. Chiefs have picked a very solid composition that works for them. Kassadin scaling, Kassadin side laning, Civilulu, an absolute bastion of strength in mid once they diversify, and then Sion. Biopanther loves that pick. Their team fighting is going to be very good.
And it's going to be phenomenal, and you've certainly doubled down on really supporting your star players in Kisei and Raze to pop off and shine. But I'm really curious to see how Peace can function with this, right? Because it will be the first time we'll see a Victor in action this split as well. But from what we do know of, Noli loves to play those scaling mages, loves to be an absolute menace in the late game too. So I'm curious to see how we can approach this one to try and match pound for pound what Kisei can provide. But here's the grand reveal. It's been a welcome introduction. It's been great to hear, I suppose, that Peace are going to be up there to try and cause a little bit of havoc. It's going to be exciting to see how well they can fare in their very first game against Chiefs of all people. And I think if you've seen them do well here, you're thinking, okay, how scary are the group stages really going to be?
That is exactly right. This is a very good test of just how good a Peace going to be. First looks at them, let's take a second to look at their overall composition here as well, instead of just the individual matchups, because we'll have plenty of time to digest that one. But their bottom lane very push heavy, has some engage tools for them, but this is kind of a one engage composition, right? If Varus isn't there, it's going to be Maokai ultimates, but we've seen a lot of success from these Maokai flanks and angles when they find. Team fighting going to be pretty strong from them, but they've got a 1-4 composition, so to speak, at the present moment. And so ball in Peace's court. How do they play this early game out for a team that we expect, and you should expect at home, to be very aggressive? Think PCS, think LPL, right? This is who they are. They're literally 5 PCS players coming in, so we're expecting that aggression to be seen.
Yeah, we certainly are. We've seen a glimpse of it from some of the players and some of the teams already in this region, namely PGG being at the very top of that. But let's see how they can sort of mark their authority, stamp their playstyle, and showcase what they bring to the region that may be slightly different to the rest.
So first things first, looking at the early movements and perhaps those jungle clears here, is a ward was placed at the Chief's red buff by Shaka at level 1. Maokai wants to find where this Wukong starts. We'll see where he chooses to path himself, because right now it was a reset into sweeper, most likely just going to be doing his own red side camps. He's going to start solo. Again, makes sense when you've got a Sivalulu into the Varus Karma. Most Karma lanes want to start solo, as Weicha in top lane finds a shielded Biopanther. Whacks him a couple times, but to no avail.
What an interesting draft, though, hey? So many of those bans towards the top lane. You're thinking, Bio welcomes this. It will say, I'll play anything. Let's not try and play this game of Tango as to who can showcase their skills better.
You know how we spoke about Daystar having, 60 plus. He must be near 70 champions probably played now in solo queue. Biopanther might be one of the only pro players that I could see playing 150 of them and doing unironically well.
Yep.
Never seen someone like him when we play games with him.
He certainly had split records where he's had the most champions played for that. You know what I'm really sad about, though, we talked about briefly in the green room, was I really wanted to paint that narrative that Cheon would get the Caitlyn, that he would do it against the Chiefs, he would get that pentakill that has eluded us for an entire year. I thought, isn't this perfect? The narrative could have played out so well.
That's the last pentakill that we got, to clarify for everyone that's hearing you say that, was Cheon, was Caitlyn, was against the Chiefs. So perhaps history can repeat itself just with a different champion. We are going to find out, as both junglers have done their 3-camp clear, but only one of them has committed all into the full clear so far. Wait to see where Shaka chooses to go. Now this mid lane matchup as well, while it is on our screens, Kassadin loses until Kassadin wins. And I know that just doesn't make, it doesn't explain anything, but level 6, he can suddenly jump on you, right? And then it's a lot harder to play the Victor into that matchup because you have to expend so much more mana dealing with a Kassadin jumping on you. Suddenly you need to put down a gravity field and stun him. Suddenly you have to use ults as well as Qs in that, and not just E-poke. And then it starts to really just get a little bit overwhelming and can potentially run you over. So that's the first major breakpoint for a lot of these Kassadin matchups, is you hit level 6, and if you're good with items or feeling relatively strong, Victor can start to really get whittled down and run over.
I would say, though, to offset that argument, that there is a lot of lockdown on the side of Peace to try and make sure that Kisei won't have free reign to do as he pleases, to try and emulate that result of 12 kills, right? A Hextech ultimatum from the top lane, a guaranteed route from the side of the Maokai.
Yeah, when it comes to team fights, the Hextech ultimatum may not be hard crowd control, but locking you in an area where you're guaranteed to take damage and get locked down is still not something a Kassadin wants to deal with. It's not something a Sivir wants to deal with, right?
Sure.
So there's certainly some utility there. And of course, like mentioned in draft, can be very, very dangerous for gank setup, that Camille lane. But so far so good from Biopanther as he pushes the wave in. Should be able to crash that one and get himself a free reset off with no need to teleport unless he wants to.
As for Bebip, on the grand journey of doing a little bit of counter jungling, a little bit of exploring more so than anything, plants 2 wards towards the bottom half of the map, just to keep tabs as to where Shaka may be at any given moment. Going to cross the river, and actually doing really well not to get noticed there as well.
But they did ping him multiple times. So there was caution pings placed on his red side jungle here by a Shaka, I believe. Just saying to be super careful because he could be here. Maybe, namely for the bot lane, right? Saying let's not get ganked down here. Ray's wasting that spell shield. Nicely done by Cloud. And our first look in at this bottom lane is it's just farming. There are a couple of minions missed here by the Chiefs. Peace keeping them pretty nicely at bay and farming up. Potion advantage pretty significant for Peace, I will say, in this 2v2. Cheon still having all 3 there. Very nice to have.
There are the stats of Kisei's last performance on this one. What a way to kick off the brand new year. 12-0-6 on that. Absolutely hard carrying on the day. Even himself said that he feels like he's in better form than he has been before.
Yeah, he's in career form right now. Absolutely loving life. Had one blip on the radar, I think we can safely say. Had one game that was a bit of a how you go and 0-3 Yone angle, but found his footing towards the end of it. Here's one of those situations where sometimes you just play a champion, sometimes you just play in a certain way. Every time we come back top lane, it feels like Weicha is losing.
I think he's just getting Sioned right now.
He is getting aggressively Sion. Bio. Tell you what, there's a certain Sion top player that was ulting there because he had a serrated Dirk instead of the Balmy Cinder, but not the Baus. This is the Bio Panther.
What would Swiper do in that situation?
The same as Bio.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's only one lethality Sion player, to be fair. Yeah, I have found all top laners are weird. Okay?
Oh, okay.
That's my blanket statement.
There's the statement.
All top laners are weird. And I'm sure top laners feel that way about everyone else anyway. This is obviously non-top lane POV. But tank top lane players are the weirdest.
Special breed?
The reason that they're the weirdest is they love it. And there's no way that anyone else in this game is picking a tank. They're picking Sion and thinking this is the best. But Swiper, Biopanther go head-to-head in a best-of-5, and it's just Maokai versus Sion 5 games in a row. They're sitting there min-maxing their 1% on how they hit minions, just frothing, just loving their life. And so I don't understand you at all. I have no understanding of top laners that play tanks and enjoy it like that.
Oh, hold that for 2 seconds because we got a bit of an all-in here in the mid lane. But Kisei not going to fall victim to dying anytime soon. Just going to feel slightly worse for wear. I do remember now that you mentioned it when Set got launched and we had a lot of like beefy champions in the top lane, the likes of Cho'Gath and stuff, for instance. You would slam dunk that into the enemy team, the cleave damage, just one-shot a squishy carry.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I like playing tanks.
Suddenly tanks are fun because they're releasing Set and now Cassante. Kisei actually going to flash away here in mid lane. The stun threatening from Nuli was really nice. Definitely handling his business in mid and trading really well.
Yeah, fairly advanced in both bot lane as well as the mid lane as the ult goes out, the damage connects, and it's not lethal, but Shaka's here. Flashing away very early on, denying any chance for the Maokai to claim that first blood.
And ghosting, Skinny. That's both summoners used by Raze with zero hesitation. That's obviously an important point to highlight here is he's gone for the ghost and the flash. No cleanse, right? No exhaust. No kind of damage reduction or combat summoner down in that bottom lane. The ghost is super useful when it comes to dealing damage in team fights.
But that is just it, right? He's fully geared for those team fights. It's going to take a little bit of time before we reach that point, right? Hence why you've seen Chain and Cloud find their moment to strike and bully during the laning phase.
So gets himself back into mid lane, but Shaka going to help just clear this wave out and make sure Nuli gets himself freed up. Now, if this is a play for the Herald, you would expect to see them both move together and not worry about Kisei in that wave. But it's too late. Weicha perhaps has a flank angle here, but they'd have to go on Bio.
Yeah, they're going to have to go for Bio. Babbitt, thankfully to the changes a while ago now, can just jump across that wall. And you're never taking down a Sion this early on in a 1v1 especially. So the play completely fizzles out. Good early sign so far. Fairly evenly matched here in the first 10 minutes.
If you are joining us for the first time as well, Peace are not actually 0-5 through gameplay. They have had to forfeit their first 5 games in a row, and they are fighting bottom.
Right, they certainly
confidence.
are. That is Cloud staunching. He's going straight into the belly of the beast. Eladoric looking to try and take it down in a 1v1 as well. The supports are fighting. The members are incredibly low, and that piercing arrow. Well,
they're on a board here. I would not be surprised to see Peace stop this base at the very least. No mana on Eladoric. He stays, gets hit.
Oh, here's the flash and gets soaked by the spell shield. Deary me.
Didn't know they were on vision at any point. You could see Eladoric removed himself, right? Like positioned to try and perhaps stay in lane.
It's not over yet.
But Nuli, Shaka coming down. Sapling spots Kisei. Bases are confirmed, but look how well Peace are doing in this 2v2. That was a dicey skirmish. There was potentially kills going either way. But they win as a result of no kills.
They're certainly handling business in the bot lane up against one of the very best duos we have down under. And it's been Nuli also finding his own up against this Kassadin. So I'm impressed.
Kisei not ulting forwards this time is holding the ability to take so much damage. This tier build, disregard the Sion ult, he's just going top. This tier build from the Victor just allows him to use his spells so aggressively, where one of the original builds, you know, straight into a Lost Chapter means you can run out of mana through that spell usage. He's fine. Has the area for lane control. One point there as well is that Kisei hasn't gone for fleet footwork or anything to sustain in lane, has just accepted reality for now.
Yeah.
And because you're building scaling items with lane like tankiness, if you go for a rune that has that as well, you kind of are just missing out on a fair chunk of extra damage. So Conqueror there, Bruiser-ish build, Bruiser rune, ramping up with those items.
Which seems to really be the theme of what we've seen, where the pressure has most noticeably been, right, in mid as well as bot lane. They are geared up for the team fight moments. And as for Peace, grouped up as 4 members, are saying, well, we've taken all the plates you can imagine.
They're done.
It's even forced the bot laner Chiefs to flip the map.
Yeah, they decided to just flip it completely. Ghostblade timing makes Cheon so powerful. They're going to put Biopanther down here now. He is very tanky. Sunfire completed, right? Rushed his first item. Can survive against the lethality Varus very easily. It also doubles up quite well against the Camille pick. This lets Raze farm at least evenly on the opposite side of the map, but note that there is a Herald to summon, so a tower should just drop. And maybe faster, depending on how Bio plays this. I think it just will be faster. Yeah, he clears the wave.
That's incredible. To flip the map like they've done, to summon the Herald as well, to say that you will not get that first blood, not that first tower. That's a lot of gold in all the right places. And let's see if they can find anything after this as Babip jumps in, just teasing at the idea, forced to burn that Cyclone. There's the root. There's the Herald still in action. Burns a flash away.
We'll just use the Cyclone part 2 to continue to jet away to safety. Bottom is still a war of attrition for the side of PC. The longer they stay, the more damage Biopanther will be taking, and so he'll have to go back to base. Teleport very close to being available, but not going to get there just yet. If they push this next wave in, you'd expect the turret drops, and Chiefs, they'll take the win. They'll flip back towards the other side of the map with Drake up and available. They want to be here to contest this one. Bio will have teleport if they go for the Drake, if he recalls immediately. But he's going to face check instead.
Oh, that's a face check he'll regret. Straight to the afterlife as first blood is picked up by Peace.
It's a really questionable decision there from him. Not sure what exactly he was face checking for. His team wasn't in the area yet. May have assumed that they were moving towards the blue buff and was stealing that, so he would have had a flank angle. But when all said and done, yeah, there was a possibility for him to just go back to base and look to contest this as a team and look for a team fight. Well, that's gone.
Most certainly is gone, down for 20 seconds. And will only respawn once that Drake has been picked up. TP back into the mid lane there for Kisei as well. Took a bit of time, but Chiefs are definitely not interested in contesting that one whatsoever. Instead, Bio will go back to top.
We're almost at a point where I feel like internal meta of Sion is if they die, you don't really care. Because it's just so normal. Like, Sions just die, man. It's part of their life cycle, using their passive. But that one was really impactful, coinciding with objective timings. And also look at PC right now. Maokai was playing around vision. If there wasn't something in that tri-push, I think the ults sets the player for Chain and Cloud, who are just coming back with their redeploy.
Yeah.
A very early win condition sets itself, Skimmy, 14 minutes into this one. The Drake well and truly there for Peace.
2 back-to-back stacked up there for Peace. Saving grace will be that Raze and Ardork at least were able to get that plate as they disengaged away from potential death. As that lethality is already starting to amp on up and hurt. That's the second turret falling on down, so 1 apiece now, either side of the map.
Feeling really happy with the game state, no doubt, is Peace. Which freely farming in top lane is going to find Babip. Not a bit surprised to see him go over that wall, depending on where the Wukong pathed. But the rest of Peace are just going to plant themselves mid again. Makes a lot of sense now that the map's broken. One difficulty, however, that Peace will have, if there's no objective, which there is does the Victor go to the side lane? It's a teleportless Victor with Illudens. Can be killed, can be focused, targeted. But at least for the moment, there is a free lane to go to farm and a free objective to take.
Yep, that's the Herald being picked up by Peace, and it will be
Teleport's actually coming behind bottom.
Deep flank onto an isolated Raze. He's got no mana. Spell Shield, Burnt Flash, and you can't run away. Wild Growth on his head, but Hex the Ultimatum guarantees the kill.
Comes Kisei.
Particularly well played there by the side of Peace. Chiefs are trying to answer back. Kisei took so long to get away. She's still alive. Unreal.
So close to dying, but manages to get out with his life intact. Very well done by the Camille. Meanwhile, his team in mid, they've taken the Herald, they've summoned the Herald, and they're going to go for 2 turrets. Bio just on defense duty, trying his best.
They're just winning.
He will save the turret's life, but huge little play there from Peace. Still, the Chiefs bounce back, right? They'll get a kill. They're staying on the board. They're staying in touch and distance. They're staying close to the Peace roster, which is exactly where you want to be with a Cassidy and a Sivir, is staying as close as you can. We'll see this one more time, because it is a very aggressive teleport, and I'm a big fan of this. Raze, he spell shields, hook shot, instantly ults. There's no way out. There's no way out. He was trying to perhaps flash before the ultimate came through, but instantly buffered. Babip comes through. First knockup comes in, and just barely. There was an auto attack in that from Kisei after the ult, perhaps, and he's dead.
Iframe perfect there, denying what would have been the killing blow. But this is what we're here for. This is the grand reveal we've been patiently waiting for. 3 weeks into the LCO.
A team challenging Peace. A team challenging the Chiefs. Currently 0-5 in the standings.
Yeah, good on Chiefs, the rookie squad.
If this is the Peace that we're going to be seeing through the rest of this split, and we've certainly got an interesting group stage ahead of us and how those seedings will pan out. Not that they've won yet, but a solid start. You know, 15-minute spot check. Peace are good.
They are, absolutely. Meeting the testaments that Bio laid down in his pre-game interview. And I'm sure as the other teams in the LCO watching in right now, they're thinking, all right, how are these group stages going to look now? Where does Peace actually land?
For me as well, a lot of the strength seems to be Cloud controlling Chaeyoung. It feels like the queen on the board, right? Like moving the piece around. Chaeyoung playing with confidence. All he has to do is be a mechanics max player. It sounds like something that he'd be very happy with. The Chiefs getting challenged just a little bit here. Again, just to reiterate, really good scaling comp from Chiefs. With Cassidy and a Sivir is going to be such a big issue. Sion as well, his scaling is crazy. But so far, we've seen some really good moments mechanically out of Wager. Shaka has been solid, just hovering lanes, not ganking, but just hovering lanes and letting them win harder by simply existing, which is an underrated skill, I might add. And Nuli has been dealing with Kisei very handedly.
Absolutely. And is certainly battling the argument as to really which mage will scale harder. Could be that much more of an influence come these big, big team fights. Third Dragon is spawning. Chiefs in the area first. I've got vision down. Peace would need to try and clear out here.
Hunting for this avenue. Babip, of course, team fight jungler with this Wukong. Saves the ult. Not going to cyclone anyone just yet. Drake number 3 on the cards. Biopanther is going to be here. And he will be here in time.
Kisei's just TP'd in bot side as well. Level 12 there, now level 13 for the Cassidy.
Drake resets. Babip over the wall.
Have they spotted him? Yep, they have now.
Babip and Kisei, in fact. There's actually a big split here by the Chiefs. If Peace find a flash engage onto Raze or Aladoric, they could just turn and burn faster than Kisei could get there. So Babip comes back around. Drake at 4K.
Drake is getting lower, close to the smite range right now. In we jump. Drake is going to reset. Taken by Babip. The fight breaks out. Shaka in trouble. Babip living, burning, but somehow surviving. Thank you, Triumph. That proc is absolutely done wonders here today. And look at the discipline from either side. Just instant peel away. Nothing more needs to be done.
The play was the Drake. The play was never the full team fight. The teams just crash. They meet in the middle. The objective goes the way of Babip. It was almost just a 1-for-1. Triumph keeps him alive. And really big from the Chiefs to make sure that they get that smite, right? Because above all else, that is what they were after. Maybe the perfect engage exists. But in reality, you watch Biopanther to see, can he find something? The answer is no, they just kite around him. They just put the Chaos Storm down. They just put the Gravity Field down. And it literally just becomes who can smite better. And Babip 1-0 in the smite fights this game.
That he is denied the all-important soul point and bought themselves a little bit of extra time, which is absolutely crucial given the comp they have. Let's check in then with the total gold. And, well, it is really a sea of blue at the top there. Chaeyoung doing exceptionally well.
Yeah. That utility jungler as well. Shaka did go for the Demonic Embrace build. So it's not going to be that tanky until he completes his second item. So he'll be a little bit sad about the fact that he has no real kill involvement. Just farming okay. It's going to be a bit slow on those item completions. Speaking of items, 7 stacks on the rod. Getting closer to 10. That's a level 13 Kassadin that's getting closer to 14, perhaps 15. But Peace's carries are so strong right now that even if Kassadin hits 16, can he deal with an immediate Varus ult to the face and just surviving instead of being one hit?
That is a concern if you have enough time on your hands, because Chan not too far away from purchasing the Muramana. Norli with the Seraphs as well. Those won't be too far away from being completed, fully upgraded, and ready to give them an injection of power for a potential Baron or that next upcoming Dragon fight.
Also, it is the Eclipse build from Chaeyoung here as well, so while it doesn't have Omnivamp anymore, it still has Lifesteal, but like more importantly, it has Tank Shred. And the Kassadin build is health-based. There's no Zonias, right? It's a Seraph, so there's a couple of items away from being just all-powerful, I suppose, when it comes to fighting. It's definitely killable. It needs to respect, especially with the Camille, guaranteed lockdown, Maokai guaranteed lockdown, Varus ultimate can actually spread as well if it hits someone else. Lots of things to be careful about.
Big thing for me at this point is how much work the Camille can do to try and keep Chiefs at bay, forced to answer back these side waves, broken apart more than anything, to allow them to isolate down a key member, single them out and get a kill.
A couple of much slower games than we have seen so far as well. Our battle of the top 4, I suppose you could say. We include Bliss maybe in that list because they've got a couple of wins back-to-back, but Peace, we all projected as a top 4 roster. So our last game, Direwolves Pentanet, was slow. This game, Chiefs, Peace, pretty similar overall, but no real mid-game explosion yet, right? No real explosion. I don't think the Chiefs want that. I think the Peace would be happy to take that fight because, again, a lethality Varus, early spikes, cheap spikes. One item from the Maokai, pretty dangerous. Victor as well with his team fights. But they're not being granted that as the Rod of Ages is completed. Kassadin 15 out of 16 on the clock. Even jungle camps belong to him.
They certainly do. A couple more waves and ready to fully unlock. That's when everybody in Twitch chat starts to get excited.
You know, one thing I will say as well about the Navori Quickblade changes, I didn't mention this last game, but Tristana gets permanent Q uptime as one thing. We've been talking about more like what does the other component of Navori Quickblade provide with ability damage, but constant uptime of Q for Trish is one of the reasons she's so good. For Siva, you're just permanently going to have W.
Yeah, always
right?
ricocheting.
So you're just constantly ricocheting.
Sure.
It's not just that your Q does extra damage, it's that you always have W up, and that spreads like wildfire. During a team fight, you can just hit the closest target and crit everybody.
You just basically got like Ravenous Hydra built into your kit now, as you say.
Yeah, so it's a really nice 2-item spike for champions like the Siva, and one of the reasons we might see her just a little bit more coming into this patch and future patches. Unless Alistar becomes meta again, and then Siva just not happy. Siva's just not happy.
I do love Alistar though. Got a soft spot for that champion.
I for one hope that Rakan becomes a mid laner, and that Perks gets one patch of just bliss. Playing AP Rakan mid again. Here we go, Maokai ult on Alidoric.
There certainly is. That's a flash away instantly, and looking to try and outrange this one, and he's done a great job at just that. Peace trying to find a moment. They know that the next dragon has already spawned, and they want to try and force something out from them.
in mid-bio.
That's by flashing in. That's Babip hunting. That's a knock-up. That's 2 members locked in place, but that's Babip dying. They need their jungler. Chaeyoung is the price. And let's kiss that finds that kill. He takes level 16 as a result of that killing blow. Oh! Camille! What is it with this? And surviving on 1% time and time again.
Just goes crazy. Mechanics Max from Wager. The rest of the team of Peace will turn and burn onto Babip. Immediately, Chaeyoung does go down. Chiefs were the ones who enacted this play. Kisei, of course, is 16. Drake is up. Teleport comes through from Peace. They want Alidoric and Raze.
That is a dirty TP, but right into a knock up there from the Scion. Pops the shield, has the Divine Thunder, finds the kill, removes Raze. Makise finds revenge. Rift walks away to safety, jumps across the wall, still hunting.
Low on HP, but high on mana. They're still hunting Peace. They've got Bio.
Oh, time and time again, they're working wonders right now. Kisei in trouble, jumps in. Bio sent to the afterlife. Kisei looking for the one-shot, can't find it. Across the wall. He's burnt that stopwatch, but he's still living. Jumps in, peekaboo, I found you.
This is so dicey. Neither team willing to fold.
Oh my
Babip
God.
caught again.
Deleted, in trouble. Shields are coming out thick and fast. Summoners being upended like you would not believe it.
What feels like 3 minutes of fighting will result in finally the Chiefs back away. And this is just for the third Cloud Drake. It's not a soul, and it's just a Cloud. Chiefs wanted to fight. Peace said, bring it on. And they just go to town for 2.5 minutes almost straight.
What an absolute Chad Weijia is just a TP on their face and say, you can't kill me.
Yeah, straight into a fully charged Scion knock-up, straight into a Sivir hitting him. They got the summoner spells earlier as well, and that's the big thing, right? If you're tracking those summoner spells, Peace and Chiefs knew where the weak points of their opponents were. They're able to pick upon that. Alidoric, no summoners. Raze, no summoners. He flashed aggressively to try and kill this Camille. But yes, he gets knocked up, but has passive and also has the W, so heals straight back up with that Divine Sunderer. But it becomes Camille against Kassadin. And this is a point in the game where the Cass is really splacked, even in terms of level advantages. Newly trying to keep him busy, trying to keep him at bay, but Biopanther is so tanky, just sitting there getting those hard steel procs, you know, just sitting there, feeling real happy about it. Clutch stopwatch, gets a shield from Alidoric, and Bio in undead form forces him back towards the Kassadin. What a series of just really clutch moments, but no clear winner.
Above all else, it's been bloody entertaining, I tell you that much. 27 minutes in, and the gold lead still is as close as anything. 3 Dragons have gone the way of Peace, so they'll be hunting for that soul point.
And here's the thing that matters about that as well, is it was Weijia that teleported in, and it was Kisei that doesn't have teleport. So as it currently stands, there's no split pushing on the map, right? There is a Scion and a Victor just handshaking in a side lane, just one-hitting waves and disappearing. But there will be a point in this game where if you look at the scoreboard right now, it is a 3-0 Camille. It is a 4-0 Kassadin. Someone's got to give.
Yeah.
Camille wants to split push. Kassadin can split push because he can 1v1 most champions. But it seems like Peace have their sights set straight on the Baron.
They certainly do. Having cleared out the vision there.
It's already at half health.
Looking
Teleport.
to see what the response is. Straight into the Baron pit they go. This one's going to go right down to the wire.
Nabib's in.
Oh, it's been taken at 100 HP by the Victor of all people. Kisei absorbs the world in that zone. He's now fully upgraded. Rift walks away. In goes the Hextech Ultimatum. Weijia finds his target. Ray still alive, but gets taken out there by Cheon. Kisei surviving for the meantime.
Oh, Weijia's crazy.
Pops a wild growth, but this Camille can do no wrong. Waiting for hook shot. And kills a conviction for the triple.
Just kites them back. Peace, they get the Baron. Somehow Nuli connects with it. E maybe finds it. Teleports to come through from this Camille as well. And Peace, I think they might have done it here. I think they might have just taken down the Chiefs in their debut game in the LCO.
Unbelievable scenes if it is to be the case right now. Respawn time is just still waiting for another 30 seconds for the likes of Kisei and Bio to respawn. Raze is up in 10 now. This is a Baron-inspired minion wave with 2 cannons to boot too. On towards the Nexus turret's #1. That's falling down rapidly. Babbitt jumping into action. Has to clear this one right now. Forget these champions. What can they do? Alidoric trying to be a deterrent, trying to be a bait. It doesn't matter. On their debut, Peace, have you missed us? Because here we are.
And Peace, essentially their debut game of the LCO, will take down the Chiefs. They'll look good doing it as well. It was a slow start, and somehow they still have the Avant chairs. There's no way they still have the Avant chairs. That's just thrown me so bad. Those things are prehistoric.
Urban Oath heritage.
There's no way they still have those chairs.
Unbelievable.
I had those chairs.
That was you.
It's 2019,
That was
they were
you.
old then.
Far out. All I'm going to say though, Mac, is look, Max is obviously tall, handsome, and incredibly smart as well because he got the right prediction.
He certainly did. But look, shout out to Giles. He said he made those chairs in 2017 on Twitter. And they're still living. They come with experience. They come with upsets, and they've just won themselves another bloody upset. So, looks like we're sitting on a 3-way tie. Chiefs didn't jump up too much further. Things getting a little bit awkward. Oh, wait, no, it's not a 3-way tie.
No, it's
Chiefs
the
lost.
opposite of that.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs won, we were 3-way tying.
Oh, they were all over the bloody place. Peace,
Yeah.
though, look really good. Peace look really good. And that's worrying, but also super exciting because going into the group stage, we've now got a very top-heavy league. We've got at least 4 excellent teams, a couple of teams just below that, which have some decent skill ceilings. But, oh my lord, Wei, this man just does not die and then has the balls, has the Giga Chadness to just TP straight on him, straight into 4 of them. and then make this play happen to get that third Drake as well. Kitty, we were having a little bit too much fun watching this one, weren't we?
Yeah, this game was so chaotic when it came to these team fights, right? But I have to give credit to Cheon and Cloud for playing bot lane so significantly well, where it went to the point where Raze wasn't really able to play the game just because of how ahead this Varus was for these team fights. Also, shout out to Nuli for actually getting the Baron with, I believe, a tick from his items, and of course this team fight was also really well played from Wager. He locked it down but Bip, and he was also able to finish everyone else off. This entire game was just Kisei versus the entire world, and Kisei, just as a Kassadin, of course mana pool issues at this point is one ultimate is going to cost 300 mana, so you need at least a secondary carry that can do just a tiny bit of more damage. But Raze on this Sivir, she just does not have the range when you compare yourself to a Victor and Varus.
That was, look, we got a match of the week, we got a runner-up match of the week, we're getting bloody everything tonight. I'm keen to get into a bloody fourth game. Skimmy, anything you want to touch on in terms of the stats here?
I mean, yeah, just phenomenal showing. Just really, I can't keep singing the praises of Weijia. Just somehow just doesn't die, pops off, just stands guard and says you can't deliver enough pain to try and outright beat us with all the scaling conditions that Kitty mentioned, right? The Casted and the Sivir, they've hit their breakpoints. The game has gone the distance. The items are starting to add up, but mechanically just weren't able to really match.
Just insanity, absolute insanity. Anything meta-wise you want to touch on from either side going into this new patch? Anything that was lent on in this series?
Yeah, I feel like Varus is becoming that very high priority ADC as we come into patch 13.1b. And with the exclusion of Zeri Yuumi, I don't think people are really going towards Zeri anymore, because Zeri Lulu doesn't feel the same. So Varus with a poke support definitely feels like a very strong combo in that bot lane. And when you do have Sivir Lulu who want to scale safely into the late game, you have to survive lane, of course.
So, I asked who was going to be the most influential. We were looking at, you know, junglers, maybe a little bit of mid lane, but do you think it was mid? Do you think it was top that was getting the most influence coming through for Peace there?
Influence, I feel like, was... Well, I mean, that's actually really hard to say, because Nuli had a really high influence in just keeping Kisei down, right? Which was really important. He still ended up 4-0, but he had to work so hard to get those kills. So I feel like he had a really big influence on this game and goes a little bit underrated. He topped damage as well, so I keep that in mind. He was playing very well on that Victor.
Yeah, I think he's the one that got that huge burst in that final team fight as well, which won the game. Something to think about for all you Twitch chat MVP voters. But look, we've got Cheon on the line to have a quick chat to. First Peace interview of the split. Cheon, are you happy with that win?
Yeah, well, I'm very excited to win this game.
Congratulations on the win, Cheon. 加油加油 Peace 很强很强.
Thanks for
But my next question is that this Varus, we've been seeing so much in the new patch. So let me know what your thoughts are on this champion.
Yeah, 'cause I think the bars are pretty OP right now. I think pretty broken. Can always get ball pushing. We can go pick Kassadin mid. So we have to like take every like dragon. So we gonna do like pretty good, I think.
Yeah, sounds like there's a little bit of celebrating going on in the background. Were you happy with the comp you ended up getting? Are you happy with your new teammates? Are you just happy with how you've performed today and also leading up until this game? Are the scrims going well?
Yeah, I'm happy. I have like new teammates, and I also like I'm pretty happy with my today's performance.
That's great to hear. And of course, you guys sadly missed out on the first 2 weeks of LCO. So what are your thoughts on the other teams, especially towards the top of the standings? And which one do you think is going to be your biggest challenge for you guys?
I think it's kind of PGG or Direwolves. Yeah, because we don't think like we don't worry like about our like 0-5 already. We don't care, I think.
That's great. Well, congratulations with the win once again. Say hi to all the Peace members as well. I hope they enjoy Australia. And 元宵快乐, very late one.
Okay, 元宵快乐, thank you.
A late one?
Oh, yes. So yesterday it was 汤圆节, so everyone eats a bit of 汤圆. I don't know what it's called in English. It's like this little dessert that's a little bit like a mochi. It's soup mochi and has black sesame in it. It's for the Moon Festival, I think, or the Moon I'm not too sure. I'm trying to translate this in my brain,
Yeah.
but it was something it was a special day in China last night, so we just had to do a bit of an exchange about that.
Okay. Is it like ice cream soup?
No, so it's black sesame. It's not relatively sweet, but it's a bit of mochi. It's okay. I'll get you some tangyuan tomorrow, and we will try it on the
Can we
broadcast.
just quickly assess the fact that he said he was more worried about Pentanet and Direwolves and he didn't mention
He
Chiefs?
didn't say Chiefs.
Yeah.
Didn't
Well, he's
say
like, we just beat
Didn't
Chiefs.
say
So,
Chiefs?
yep.
That's crazy. Like, that's... I mean, in my experience, from what I've seen, don't make Rays mad.
Yeah.
I think he's just...
yeah.
I think he's just disrespected the Chiefs.
He's watching that
between
VOD
us.
on repeat, on
Oh.
repeat.
Well, look,
It's going to be on a poster.
we got
above his
a,
desk.
we got a Dare MVP to have a look at because I have no idea who Twitch chat are voting for, but it looks
Nice.
like it was Big Man up top with the Giga Chat plays. 80% KP all across the map, always living, always doing what he needed to do. And look, going through the weeks, we got to keep our eyes on this man because that is just a solid debut performance here in the LCO.
Yeah, I mean, Weijia was just able to live on the most slither of HP, especially in that bot lane, and I believe even in a mid lane 5v5, he was able to dodge a skill shot from the dark, and it's just how many times that he was able to get away with murder, and then he tosses out so much damage in these team fights because you have the Scion trying to match it in the side lane, but what point in the game does it get to where the Camille is just going to start out damaging the Scion?
At the end, when you know you've lost, maybe that's the question. Yeah. But look, I'm not a top laner, Kitty. I can't answer those questions. You can't
No,
throw
it's
me
good.
under
Keep
the bus.
asking him questions.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
I've got answers for days. They might not be the bloody right ones, but I've got them. Look, and I've also got a fourth game for the first time this split on the LCO, and that's coming up just after the break. Get pumped, get hydrated, get bloody excited, and we'll see you in a second for Kanga against Jeezy.
Gonna go right down to the wire.
That it's in.
Oh, it's been taken at 100 HP by the victor of all people. Kisei absorbs the world in that zone. He's now fully upgraded. Rift walks away. In goes Hextech Ultimatum. Weijia finds his target. Ray still alive, but gets taken out there by Che, and Kisei survives for the meantime.
Weijia's crazy.
Pops a wild growth, but this Camille can do no wrong. Waiting for hook shot and kills a conviction for the triple.
Just